Bore da bawb. Good morning everyone. Um, Mike Williams ydw i o Ganolfan Cydweithredol Cymru. I'm Mike Williams from the Wales Cooperative Centre, and I want to welcome you all to this tourism networking event. I will go into a little bit more detail in a moment, but my first job is to pass you over to my colleague Elizabeth, who will tell you a little bit more about the technical niceties of the Remo system that we are using this morning. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Mike. Bore da. Hi, everyone. Just for anybody who's not been on a Remo event before, welcome everybody. I'm sure as you saw at the beginning, there's networking tables laid out. When we go back to networking later on, all you need to do to move around the tables and choose your preferred table is to double click on the table, and that'll take you there. And then at the settings at the bottom, you've got a little bar, a bit like Zoom if you're familiar with that, and you've got a microphone and camera option. So just put those on or off to have your camera on and to be able to speak to the other people on the table. So it's pretty straightforward. You just need to have a go, find your way around. So now we're in presentation mode. So at the moment, you won't be able to have your cameras on and your microphones on. And we've got speakers joining us later. So if the speakers could just turn their cameras and microphones off for now, while we do the introduction stage, that'd be great. And so in case as well you haven't used it before, so in this presentation mode, we've got a chat here that is for the whole room, and there is a global chat that stays throughout the session today. So please put your comments in there. You're welcome to introduce yourselves and your businesses and put a link in. That'd be fantastic. And then you can also see a list of participants. And then if you see on the far right there, you've got a Q&A icon. So that's where we'd like you to put your questions, if that's okay. So pop your questions for the speakers in there, and then there'll be a question session at the end. So the speakers that are coming on, you don't need to worry about having your cameras and mics on now. We'll let you know when it's time for you to come up, and just put your camera and mic on at that point. Okay, and I think that should be fairly straightforward. We'll give you a recap at the end before we go into networking on how to use those networking tables again. And if you want to change your view, there is a little icon at the bottom saying tile view, which can switch you the look and feel of the layout. If you've got any technical problems, please just if you find WCC events team, my colleague Maggie or myself can try and help you to work out any technical issues. It does help if you're not in Internet Explorer or any older browsers. Chrome is the best one, and as I found myself this morning, if you refresh it can help if you've got any technical glitches. There's an agenda, as Maggie's also just mentioned there, and electronic agendas up in the far right. So I'll pass you back to Mike there. I hope I haven't forgotten to tell you anything major there. Thank you.
Thanks Elizabeth. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Croeso ffurfiol felly i'r achlysur. Dwi'n gobeithio a dwi'n credu fydd hi'n fore diddorol iawn. I think it's going to be a really interesting and rewarding morning. There's we have three really good and varied speakers for you to enjoy, and there will of course be room to ask questions after the speakers have completed. But put your question, don't wait until the end, put your questions in the Q&A section within chat, and that'll work very nicely indeed. Dylai fi ddweud mae'n debyg yn y dechrau bod Canolfan Cydweithredol Cymru yw'r asiantaeth datblygu cydweithredol fwyaf ym Mhrydain. Da ni'n darparu ystod o wasanaethau masnachol a chyllid cyhoeddus, ac yn gwneud gwaith polisi a materion cyhoeddus. Ers i ni gael yn sefydlu ym 1982, mae'r ganolfan wedi bod wrth galon economi cymdeithasol fywio Cymru, gan ddod â chyllidwyr a phartneriaeth ynghyd i wneud y cymendebau yn fwy hyderus, yn fwy uniongyrchol ac yn fwy cydweithredol. I probably should say that the Wales Cooperative Centre is the largest cooperative development agency in the UK. We deliver a range of services, both commercial and publicly funded, and we undertake policy and public affairs work, all of which have the joint aims of achieving our corporate objectives. We were set up back in 1982, and since that time we've been at the heart of Wales's vibrant social economy. We bring funders and partners together to make our communities more confident, more ambitious, and more cooperative. With regard to the event this morning, I think it's worth noting that Elizabeth has touched on this, but a note for our speakers: if you could turn your cameras on when you're presenting and then off when you're finished, and that will effectively make you leave the virtual stage. To help us all keep time, there'll be a timer running during the presentations, and we'll post links to each organisation presenting in chat, and we'll make these available with each speaker's slides on a Padlet after the event. There will be time for Q&As, mi fydd amser I gwestiynau to all speakers after the presentations are finished. And os fedrwch chi bawb roed eich cwestiynau yn y darn Q&A oddi fewn chat, mi fysa hynna yn fanteisiol iawn. Mae yna groeso mawr wrth gwrs i chi siarad neu cwestiynu yn ddwyieithog. Os fyswn i'n gofyn, os da chi'n gofyn cwestiwn yn Gymraeg, siawns fysa'n syniad rhoi fersiwn Saesneg o'r cwestiwn hefyd i sicrhau bod pawb yn deall. A felly, hefo hynna, dwi'n credu bod hi'n amser I ni fynd yn syth i'n siaradwr cyntaf. I think with that, it's time that I introduced straight away our first speaker, who is Christine Evans from Wales Best Guides. And Wales Best Guides is the professional tourist guiding network for Wales. So, Christine, welcome aboard. Welcome to the stage.
Diolch yn fawr, Mike. Bore da pawb. I'll just share the screen now to get going with my PowerPoint. Can you all see that? Can people see my PowerPoint and hear me?
I certainly can, Christine. Dwi'n weld o ac yn gweld a clywed yn glir.
Diolch. I think I've unshared now, though. Hang on. Where are we? Right. Here we go. Okay, so I'm a Blue Badge tourist guide for Wales, and I'm also a quality assurance officer and enterprises. As with many organisations, we're quite a complex setup in that Wales Official Tourist Guide Association, some of you may have come across, in Wales has been in for nearly 40 years now. But as West and to develop a commercial arm, because we were just a community of guides in a membership organisation. We were fortunate enough to come across Wales Cooperative Centre, who supported us in creating our social enterprise, seen as the best vehicle for our commercial side of what we were doing as tourist guides. It's a spin-out, Wales Best Guides Enterprise, spin-out of Wales Official Tourist Guides Association. Here's a photo of a happy tour group enjoying a tour. Now, often I say with trying to photograph and get content for our digital exploits, often you just get a picture of the backs of people's heads in anorak. This shown to be joyful and looking at a sheep shepherding his sheep with the sheepdogs. Food centre. So, while Guides Enterprises Limited, well, we were the only people who deliver the authorised training, part of a global network of global professional structure for tourist guiding. So we're the only body that's able to deliver in Wales. And we found it was generating us some income. And as an association, to be honest, we were a bit worried about tax liabilities as people on the executive association. Obviously, with pandemic again, that was a real motivator. Something we'd been doing quite well. Years with mainly external overseas visitors, travel operators outside Wales. Very much our opportunity what we were doing and become more community focused on Wales. And amongst our membership as tourist guides, we've got a fantastic accountants, people that have been in health and social care. Everybody sees interesting past life, and there's tremendous that we've got to offer things beyond tourist guide, tourism beyond. So, so far we've had our first contracts. We've established our company. We've got 3 directors at the moment. We realise we're just manageable at the moment. And we've just come to our third year end. I'm absolutely thrilled with the turnover that we've had. We've also focused on our branding because it can get complex. So we still keep the Wales Official Tourist Guide and Wales Best Guides for the guiding activities. Wales.
Christine, just to ask, sorry, could you just advance your slides, please? Because the audience...
And these are at the that we've delivered. This is a group of people who are linguists. Already qualified Blue Badge guides, mainly working out of London, but they were all coming into Wales, and there is a short guides in Wales, obviously beyond those that speak Welsh and English. So it's telling the stories of North.
Oops, Christine, we've lost you there, I think. Sorry. Can you come back up to the stage, Christine? We were just trying to tell you that your slides weren't advancing. So if you can hear me, if you could click on to the next slide. That's what the audience were just asking. Are you able to come back up, Christine?
We've had guided cultural adventures. We've completed a feasibility. And Edwards is here from Dolentavy today, has been a key person in support
So diolch yn fawr, thank. On work is to write the Anglesey Ambassador Programme. Some of you will be familiar with tourism ambassador initiatives that got going in Denbighshire, Conwy, Erie, Gwynedd is about to launch. So we're writing the ambassador one with the council. Hopefully we'll launch in June. And alongside that, we're doing an intensive level 2 course for cruise ship guides to improve the quality of the welcome in Holyhead. And they've got 44 cruise ships coming in, so that sector's recovering, to be able to improve that. To be key for us is that we're successful in a third sector resilience fund bid, which I don't know if you can see the bags under my eyes, but as a volunteer director, I'm exhausted, and this grant will now give us a very welcome opportunity to employ some staff to project management, bidding, admin and finance support, and also digital communication. And also we have got an increased profile as a result of forming the company, not least through your own networks here with the Wales Cooperative, but also it's been an opportunity for us to go out and meet and tell how excited we are about this work. The company itself does not guiding. The still delivers the tourist. 4 members there all have their own independent companies and put themselves out there in various ways to complete guiding skills. We're about the training, and we're related tourism development initiatives that we like to bid for. This is Sean, one of our members, recently featured on ITV Wales. He's the very first motorbike and sidecar tour operator. So he's working out of Aberystwyth. He's Mid Wales Tours. Reflecting on our community, it's important that our members are getting something out of the company. It's not just about us as directors. Plus guides have been given income when you consider all our income and all their income was wiped out by the pandemic. And this is our commercial site for guides to promote themselves. This is walesbestguides.com if you want to take a look at that. And there's my contact details. So I shall unshare now. Yes, here we are. Am I back?
Hi, Christine. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Croeso. Was that okay? I couldn't hear anything, so.
No, oedd o'n gret. O gynnon ni un o ddau o broblemau technegol hefo'r bandwidth, dwi'n credu. Wedyn, pawb ddim yn gallu gweld rhai o'r sleidiau, ond mi fyddan ni'n rhannu nhw hefo pawb ar ddiwedd yr achlysur. Wedyn bydd y gwybodaeth yna i bawb gael. I was just explaining to Christine that, unbeknownst to her, I think, we lost some of the slides, and then we lost the screen share. Technical issues, I think, down to bandwidth. But we will, of course, as we've said, be sharing all of that information after the event. So all of the detail will be available to everyone. And the people that she was talking about so eloquently, you'll be able to see their faces when you have a detailed and leisurely look at the slides after the event. Felly, diolch yn fawr iawn, Christine. Thank you very much indeed. Mi nawn ni rwan symud ymlaen i'n ail siaradwr, cyfaill o'r ganolfan cydweithredol. We'll now move straight on to our second speaker here, a colleague of ours at the Wales Cooperative Centre, Martin Downs, who works with and will be speaking about the community's co-creating sustainable tourism project. Martin.
Diolch, Mike. I'm just going to find the right tab so I can share with you my PowerPoint, and yeah, I'd be grateful if somebody could let me know that you can see that it all looks okay. Oh, I can see it myself. There we are. All right, so you should be able to see 3 logos, and I've got 5 minutes to explain the tourism project that we're involved in. So, yeah, as Mike said, my name's Martin Downs. I work as the Learning and Development Programme Lead at Wales Cooperative Centre. And as part of that learning and development offer, and I work with different organisations, we run Social Enterprise Academy within Wales. The Academy runs a number of different facilitated learning programmes, so it has a unique learning experience. They're not training programmes, they're very much peer-led, facilitated learning, and we run those on social enterprise, on helping organisations rethink their income streams. We run leadership programs, and we've teamed up with the Academy in Scotland to lead on a project specifically around community-led tourism. So it's been funded by the lottery. We're literally in the stage where we're kicking off the project, and it's going to run until the middle of 2023. So if I come to my next slide, here's the title of the project. So it's called Imagining New Futures Together, Vision, Connect, Lead and Build. Because it's a learning program, the goal of it is to help communities to develop an enhanced understanding and visions for what they want to do around tourism, and to develop approaches that are more inclusive and more sustainable. Now, the project, I guess, is quite unique within the UK, because we're bringing together 8 communities in Wales and 8 communities in Scotland to be part of this learning journey together. I know some of you already asked me in the chat, where, how can we get involved, or have you chosen the communities? And to be honest, I looked at today as a golden opportunity to meet and talk with some of you, and to find out if you'd be interested in getting involved in this program. So we haven't selected the communities yet. We're going to send out information about them, about the project and how everything is going to run. Sorry, I said a little nudge on the chat, so I just want to check that that's bear with me a sec. Interrupting my own talk. Bear with me. All right. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to bring together 8 communities in Wales, 8 in Scotland, and maybe those communities that haven't had a place plan in place, or maybe are overlooked from a tourism perspective, and are interested in developing as a community that tourism offer that's going to be based on community strengths. And is going to play its part in developing a longer term, vision for tourism in that place. So that's the kind of big picture of what it's all about. And the kind of the learning flow is that we're going to start with vision or visions for the communities. That first phase is going to take in kind of end of April, probably until early June, and we'd like to bring together within these 8 communities probably around 30 different people who'll be interested in working together to develop that vision. Now, I appreciate in some locations things like this are all already in place, but there is an opportunity maybe to bring some different voices to the table. And we're going to start with the community and then move to tourism. So we're not going to start with what a plan looks like, and we're certainly not looking at a sort of here's the top-down list of ideas for what you can do. It's very much getting the voices from the community together to look at what are the visions for the community, what is good about that, about our community, and then how does tourism add to that? How does tourism fit with that? What does that mean for the kind of the local economy? And how do we want to move this forward? So that will be the kind of first phase, and then we'll look to really build and work on those connections. And like I said, we anticipate we'd love about 30 people to be involved in that first stage. We'll go into the tourism season, so I guess there'll be maybe some challenges around commitment, but we want to keep at least half of that number, really keeping the conversation going and keeping that building. And then for each community to look at selecting perhaps 2 people who will take part in a leadership program on behalf of the community. So there'll be 2 representatives from each community in Wales, and they'll be working together with representatives from those 8 communities in Scotland, and to develop that learning and then to bring it back to that wider group. So it's really a resource and investment in people, in learning, and to do it, like I said, this is about grassroots. So we haven't got an agenda to say, these are the things you should be looking at and doing. It's very much what's that collective voice? What are the visions that people have? What do they love about the community, and how do they build it? And you are the kind of vital people in this regard to help take this forward. So that's my email address. I'd love to have conversations with you about this. I'd love to hear from different communities across Wales represented here, and maybe how we can link up, and we'll send you some more information about what it would look like. But we are looking kind of end of April to kick this off and to gather people together. And you're really vital in helping with this. So those really are the kind of headlines of what I want to say. I think I've even been reasonably efficient with time. So shall I hand back to you, Mike, or hand back to Elizabeth, and then we'll come to our next speaker.
Thanks, Martin. That was extremely efficient with time. I'm extremely proud of you.
Thank you.
That was excellent. Eto fel o blaen, lle I gwestiynu oddi fewn chat. As I mentioned before, the space to ask questions within chat, and they will be pulled together and addressed after our third and final speaker. Mae'n bleser nawr gan I gyflwyno yn trydydd siaradwr, Emmanuel Dal Carlo, a mae Emmanuel am siarad ynglyn â Fair B&B, a mae o yn siarad hefo ni yn syth o'r Eidal o Venice. It's now a huge pleasure to introduce our third speaker this morning, Emmanuel Dal Carlo, who will be speaking to us about his venture Fair B&B. And I'm delighted that Emmanuel is able to join us directly from Venice, where the broadband seems to be rather stronger than it is in North Wales, which is excellent news. Over to you, Emmanuel.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. And especially thank you to Jude, David, and Elizabeth, which have been exchanging emails and ideas beforehand. This is a great opportunity for us. And I will start immediately with a quick presentation of the slides. Okay, so quickly, Fair B&B is born initially as a grassroots movement idea, how to counter the negative effect of tourism in cities. It started initially in Venice, Amsterdam, and Barcelona, and then we collected more and more enthusiasm around Europe, and now we are a cooperative of nearly 20 members from 7 different countries in Europe and also North America. The basic idea of Fair B&B is sorry, I can hear feedback. Sorry. The basic idea of Fair B&B is to create an alternative to platform for tourism and vacation rental industry that relies on local communities for guidance to understand the impact and the sustainability for each diverse community, and that reinvest 50% of its revenues to support social projects. We came to this idea analyzing what was happening in the tourist market in our destinations in our communities. We have experienced extractive economy, international platforms that leave almost nothing to the ground, that they just think about revenues and investment and growth, but never think about really about the consequences of this growth on the local community. Loss of identity, touristification, gentrification, and loss of identity of the community. These were the main factors that we wanted to address. These factors are not only, let's say, something that affect people that study the problem, but they affect citizens. In a lot of places in the world, people is revolting against tourism, especially in high sought destinations. And we don't like that. We like tourism. We think tourism is a great opportunity for people to meet. Traveling is great. Traveling make people understand each other and help make the world a better place. So we didn't like the fact that, notwithstanding we were living in a touristic city like myself in Venice, that tourism was becoming almost a swear word. The tourists were not well integrated in the community. So we said, what can we do? And so we launched initially a manifesto of our project in 2016-17 that got quite a huge reception worldwide, with the idea of presenting a, let's say, ethical booking platform in response to, especially to platforms like Airbnb and Booking.com, that in our vision, they were not taking into consideration the negative effects that they were having on the destinations. The project grew pretty quickly. We have ambassadors and activists in nearly 50 destinations now. This map is not completely updated. And these are the active and upcoming communities that are. If you go on our website, you will find more information about each community and the rules and regulations that we apply in each of them. Why do I talk about rules and regulation? Well, this is a key factor in our Airbnb work. We understood that the main problem with platform was that they only think about market value, okay? Growth, competitiveness, shares of the market, or best offer, the best service, the best features. But there was an whole universe of people in those destinations and connected to the activity of this platform that were not really involved in the process. They couldn't even see the benefit, if not slightly and indirectly. And so we said, okay, let's build an ecosystem that includes everyone in a community in the benefits of tourism and trying to avoid also the negative part of it. So while other platforms just provide a service and apply a commission and they transfer money to the host, and the host a lot of the time is not even a resident of the area, so let's say the value that stays on the ground is very small, we say, okay, what about if there was a platform that was sharing its revenues with relevant social and community projects in the destination chosen by the community? What if the platform was choosing a local partner to manage the local community and interact with the public administration, local stakeholder, association, to understand what would be the best sustainability, for example, cap number of hosts on the city, or put the host have to be resident or not, which projects to choose. So we said, Airbnb can do this. We want to lead by example, and we incorporated our cooperative in 2018 and launched our project in late in 2019, just before COVID. But we are still here, notwithstanding that. Notwithstanding this, we are a business, we are a cooperative, as you know. Cooperatives are businesses, are companies, and we still manage to create values for the central cooperative and the members of the cooperative. These are our main values: sustainable tourism at the core, involvement of communities. We believe there cannot be sustainability without involvement of each actor on the scene, and cooperativism. We believe cooperative is important because our goal is to reach as many members as possible. We're going to soon change our form from a workers cooperative to a multi-stakeholder cooperative, able eventually to welcome also host travelers and other stakeholders. Just quickly, our approach in this destination is based on these 4 main ideas, but we allow each destination to write its own rules. We give suggestions. We see this is for us is the golden formula, but we learn from our communities, and the rules that you will find in Venice will be completely different from Barcelona, Naples, Rome, London, or wherever. We have identified one major issue is that because the house is a finite stock, often in city center especially, in tourist destination, we prefer to welcome hosts that are resident and they don't do it in a massive scale. So in certain city, we are really strict. In Venice, you have to be a Venetian resident and have only one secondary house on the market on each platform, with not one on Airbnb and then other 20 on other platform. But in other destinations, we don't have the same limitation. This is important for us. That's why we choose local ambassador. And that's why I'm here also. I'm appealing to find people that want to import our model in their communities. I will jump a little bit. The impact is pretty obvious. We want to create sovereignty and policies, but also create funds and works at the local level. Ideally, in the future, the percentage of money that Airbnb will extract from territories will be close to 0, because the more communities we have involved, the less money we need to run the platform at international level. This is the basic. I will jump a lot of stuff. I just want to give you a quick preview. We are about to launch something really exciting for us. A new vertical is the experience, but obviously with our flavor. We are introducing what we call the fair experiences. Fair experiences for us is not the usual touristy thing. Is stuff that potentially also the locals would enjoy. And it will be a way also to involve in the process those tourists that come with other platforms. So one person could book with any other platform, but still find in a destination a way to enjoy the territory, but giving back to the community. This is our model. I have, I think, 30 seconds quickly. I will show you. This is our main website, and you can find all the destinations here. If you go on the search, you will be led to our actual search engine. We have nearly 500 hosts now, and more 2,000 in the wait list, because we only open in places where we have projects. And you will also find some interesting tool to calculate what could be the potential impact of Airbnb in your territory. And I think I got 1 second. Thank you very much. And I will post all the link in the chat.
Emmanuel, thank you very much indeed for that. That was really interesting, actually. And it was strong similarities to some of the issues that we have in some parts of Wales. And I think the way that you have devised that model is really good. I know there are questions already within the chat facility. So diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you. A rwan mae'n amser I fynd at y cwestiynau. It's now time to address some of the questions. Elizabeth, do you want to take some of the questions? Are you able to do that?
Sure, let's have a look. Shall we call the speakers back up on stage now so we can have them all there to answer the questions? That might be nice. So if all the speakers want to put their mics and cameras back on, and let's go through the questions. Right. Okay. So just having a look here for they've all kind of got one vote. So if anyone wants to jump in now and vote for uprate their favourite question, go for it. If not, I'll just read the top one.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yes.
Yes, I think that what we are doing really resonates with what Martin was saying, but also Christine, the importance of creating jobs and also to work from the community up. I think that after hearing everyone, I think you were all linked. So you did well. You put a very common ground here.
That's good to hear. Yeah, hopefully we've heard from great speakers today. Everyone's got a great synergy with trying to work in community tourism. So the first question was from Jan. I think this must be directed to Christine. I think it's about the structure of your, so I don't know if you can see it, but the question says, hello, so how does the structure work? The training is under the commercial arm and the guides under the original group, plus contracted guides. What is the rationale for this? If you could just briefly answer that one and maybe get back to her with more information.
Yeah, sure. The original structure was a membership body, so a fully constituted association, but not a commercial business. And then when we were, we took ourselves, we sort of devolved the training into Wales that had been run by the Institute of Tourist Guiding in London. So that started, which really we couldn't. So how it works, so that's why we set up the company to accept that income and run the training. But how it works for the individuals that become guides, so they first of all get trained by the company, but then they are invited to join the association, which is a professional body. You know, if you were joining the AAT, if you were an accounting technician, it's similar as a professional body. So that's how it works, and that's the rationale really, is that we're protecting the membership organisation by taking the finances into a commercial, but we as the company into the association, and so you know it would company exist without the association.
Okay, thanks. So you know, if anyone wants more information from Christine, I'm sure she can get back to you. Now, the next one I was going to go to, I think, Martin, this one's for you. I think this came up then. It was about someone's asking, are there any criteria for communities you're looking for? Size, location, urban, rural?
Yeah, good question. We need to have a balance across Wales of the different communities involved, and we particularly are interested in working with communities maybe don't have a place plan in place at the moment. So there's real benefit in the community coming together to work together on developing a plan and vision. Would love to see kind of rural communities as part of that, but yeah, I don't think all 8 are going to be necessarily rural. So yeah, so that sounds slightly vague. I appreciate. I think it's about having conversations. It's about knowing what's in place, and we'll send some information over about what we're looking for, and what the program involves, and we just need to see if there's a fit. So I think there's a little bit of over the next few months. It's about the conversations we have and seeing what could work. Is this going to be a good fit, and going from there. And I guess I really want to underline as well just the sheer importance that this is about grassroots. So this is not an agenda of what to do. That comes from the community, and the community first, then the tourism element. That's what's important in this project.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks, Martin. So got a couple now, Emanuele, for that seem to be about Fairbnb. So one question, don't know if you can see it again, there's a couple here. Have you found it easy or difficult to sign up hosts? And another question about experiences being tacked on to accommodation, which I think you've mentioned already, but could you explain those?
Let's say that initially, before COVID, it was pretty easy. We had a long list of pre-registered users all around the world. The COVID obviously put a bit of a damp on our growth and our projects, but I have to say it's far more easy to find hosts in places, quite paradoxically, where there is less tourism, because where there is a lot of tourists, the host is very professionalized, very money-oriented. They kind of lost a bit the contact with their own city, with their own community. There are few, I don't want to generalize, but I would say that 90% of the hosts have chosen the, I don't want to say the dark side, but I mean, they chosen another path. The fact is, but it's okay. I mean, we want only people that believe in what we're doing. We want only people that is committed to their community. We know that our platforms cannot offer the same advantages of other platforms, but we believe that there is room for a niche of people that want to really connect with genuine local hosts. And this is what we want to offer. Bear in mind that we're not exclusive. So our host can be present on Airbnb on many other platforms. Obviously, we don't want them to starve initially, but so we are getting there, but it's more difficult in the places where we should boom, really.
Great. Okay, thanks. And did you want to mention the experiences?
Yes, as I mentioned in the presentation, we'll find that we are launching it. We have actually really close. I mean, a couple of weeks probably from the alpha version to be rolled out. Even the experience will have the same business model. The only difference that we have in the experience is we have another actor, not only the buyer, the tourist or the local, not only the provider and the platform and the local ambassador and the project, but also somebody we call scout. So we will give people possibility to work as, let's say, micro agents for people that can offer activities in their territory. This is a good opportunity for hosts as well, because they can organize with local farms and local experiences, and they can bring business to a whole small galaxy of opportunities around them. But at the same time, it could be a good job for young people that can help elderly people that have skills, but they don't have the possibility to connect digitally with the demand to reach potential customers, travelers, explorers.
Okay, great. So there's lots of opportunities there for young people and potentially for other social businesses and beyond accommodation. So just one last question then about Airbnb, and then I think we'll go back to Christine. So this one is about the tourism tax, Emanuele. The question is asking how it works from with tourism tax. Is tourism tax not supposed to be reinvested in the community? And I think there was something on the news last night about Wales introducing a tourism tax potentially, or council tax increase.
It is supposed to be reinvested in the community. A lot of the time it goes in a big pot and then they spend it for whatever. We think that money from tourism should go specifically to curb the negative effect of tourists and to create the place most welcoming for residents first and tourists also. So that's why we want to be like a scope fund, an impact fund, where we direct the fund from our intervention directly to activities that can really impact the well-being of the local residents. But where there is local tax, we talk with the local authorities and we try to help them collect it. We've done it in Genova a lot before other platforms, and now we're talking, for example, with the city of Paris. So if in Wales it will become, we will be ready to oblige, obviously.
Great, thank you so much. So Christine, there's a question here from Claudia about, is there funding for level 2 for welcoming cruise ships in Holyhead? Are you able to answer that one?
The training is point actually started yesterday. People
quite intensive. We had 70 applicants. It was heavily oversubscribed. But the funding is actually coming from the Communities Renewal Funds from the UK government.
It's part of our project. Community Renewal Fund.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. And I think we're probably running out of time on this, but it's a really good discussion here. So let's just pick out one more. But if anyone wants to uprate, go for it now. If not, I'll just pick one. Oh, we've got someone asking, are you Airbnb? Sorry, this one's for you, Emanuele. Are you worried Airbnb will take action over your name?
Well, there is a bit of a story behind this. I mean, we've been contacted almost immediately, obviously, by very, actually very nice people from Airbnb Italy and their lawyer, and they were really, we want to understand better what you're doing. Do we understand the name is a bit of an issue? The American corporation doesn't like these things. So we went along, we just registered the name, we applied for the European brand coverage. The process is being halted. Obviously, they challenge the registration. Funny story, also their registration has been challenged because there are other companies that do copyright trolling. And so Airbnb now cannot do anything about us because they are suffering somebody else challenging their name in Europe because there was an Australian company, very similar name. So it's a bit of a little happy train, but we are cool. We always decided that this was initially a very bold statement, a risk that we wanted to take. We also don't hide behind the fact that we are very critical about the system that's been put in place. If the time will come, we will change the name or we will fight. We don't have a problem with that.
Okay, thank you so much. Right, I'll just ask one more for Martin then, try and be fair here. There's one there for you, Martin, about in the past, Visit Wales has encouraged local authorities and DMOs to produce destination management plans. How does your project fit around those? Are you able to answer that really quickly?
Yes, well, the answer is I'm not entirely sure at this stage. I've certainly, we've talked about kind of engaging with town councils around, somebody bringing together kind of local people just because they're kind of well-connectedness. But I don't know. At this stage, I can't really answer that, to be perfectly honest. But we await further light.
Great. Okay. I think I've probably taken up a bit more than I should have done with time for questions, but thank you all for asking your questions. That's fantastic. But in the networking session that we go into next, once the question's been answered, please feel free to contact the speakers. Hopefully they can hang around for a little bit. So once you've got to tables, you'll realize how easy it is to move around, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to chat to you if you've got further questions for them. Okay, thanks. So I'll hand back to Mike and Jude now, who can explain to you how the next networking part is going to work, because we've got some questions we'd love you to answer. So Jude's here and I'll say goodbye.
Diolch, Elizabeth. Thank you for that. I think asking me to explain anything technical is quite ambitious, so good luck with that. Can I just diolch I bawb a session ola? Can I just thank everybody, Elizabeth and the speakers, of course, but also all the delegates who sent in the questions. Literally would be no Q&As without you, so thank you all for that. I'm now passing you to my other colleague, Judith, who will explain to us all how the next session, the networking, the discussion session rather, is going to work.
Thanks, Mike, and thanks again for all the speakers for your presentations this morning. It's been a really interesting session. So for the remainder of the event this morning, we've got two parts. We've got a discussion session for around sort of 20 minutes or so, and then there'll be some time for sort of free networking until we end at 11:30. So for the discussion, when we go back into the networking view, you'll be able to see the tables as it was when you first joined the event, and you'll see that we've labelled the tables regionally, and there's also some space on the right hand side for anybody who would like to join that area if they prefer to speak in Welsh. So you might find for the discussion it's helpful to sit on a table for the region that you're based in, but if you want to join another table, that's absolutely fine. Please sit wherever you would like to. To choose a seat, you just need to double click on an empty chair and you'll be automatically moved to that place. So for the discussion, we'd like to really focus on the Fairbnb model and opportunity. It's really interesting, and you can see there are a lot of destinations across Europe already from Emanuele's map. So there's certainly some potential for Wales to become one of those. And we'd really like to sort of start some conversations between organisations in the sector and start to gather your feedback on where we might go next with this. So we've got 3 questions to guide the discussion on your tables. We'll post each question and give you sort of 6 or 7 minutes to chat about your response on your table. And when the time is up, we'll ask for feedback to be posted in the chat. So you can nominate one person just to type some information in the chat on behalf of your table. You can keep the answers really brief. You might just want to give a one-word yes or no answer, or you might want to add a sentence or 2 of explanation. That's absolutely fine, but please don't feel you have to type War and Peace in the chat as to give us your feedback. After the event, we'll circulate a summary of all the feedback with a short survey. So if your organisation is particularly interested in Fairbnb, you can flag that, or we can sort of help facilitate the next steps. So in a moment, we'll switch back to networking mode and you'll see the tables again and all the speakers will disappear. So you can choose a seat, spend a few minutes on your table just introducing yourselves and nominating somebody to give the question feedback in the chat. The first question is going to be quite simple, I hope. It's simply going to be, do you like the Fairbnb model? So we'll post that question and let you know when the time is up to give us some feedback in the chat, in the main chat rather than your table chat, so that we can all see it. And there are 3 questions altogether. We'll post each one at a time. So thank you so much in advance for participating in the discussion. We're really looking forward to hearing your feedback, and we're ready to start the networking session.